Hi, this is Janelle. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to talk to you about the difference between someone or being able to determine whether someone dislikes you or if you are just not someone's preference at that moment. Okay, there's a big difference between someone not liking you, just period, not liking you, or you not being someone's preference in that moment. Okay, and so I want to start off with the story. So when I was in high school, I worked for my senior year. I worked at a barbecue restaurant, and the food was great. Okay, so I worked at the restaurant, went to college after my senior year, and came home one weekend, and I was craving barbecue. I wanted a brisket sandwich. Okay, and so I was, I couldn't wait to get back home, and I was, the first place I planned to go to was this, was a restaurant that I worked at, and I was gonna get a brisket sandwich. So I pulled up, and the first thing I noticed was that the sign changed. Okay, so the restaurant was no longer there. Okay, or the previous owners were no longer there. At the restaurant, they still sold barbecue, however, it was a different owner. Okay, so I go on. I'm craving barbecue. I lived in a small town. There was no place around that sold barbecue. And like I said, I was craving it, so I went on in there and ordered a brisket sandwich. Okay, so I order the sandwich, go home, open the wrapper up, and begin to eat it. And I don't know. Now this has been well over 20 years ago. Okay, so almost 30 years ago. So, but I started eating it, and I don't know whether I took one bite, two, maybe three. I don't think I got 3 bites. Okay, but it wasn't long before I'd taken a couple of bites, and I remember I can still remember that taste. Okay, it didn't. I immediately there was this taste in my mouth that was very off-putting, and it wasn't the barbecue. Okay, it wasn't the meat. It was, and so I take a bite and I'm like, this isn't, what's going on here? And I can't remember whether I spit it out and saw it, but after 1 or 2 bites, I looked down, and I can't, and again, this was a long time ago, so I can't remember whether I spit it out and saw it there, or if I saw it after I removed the bun, but I remember taking the bun off, and there was a huge spot of mold. Okay, the bun was molded, huge spot of mold, and I just remember, like I said, the taste was, I don't know whether if you've ever tasted, had mold in, and it wasn't a little bit, it was a huge spot, but it was in a spot where I didn't see it, so I can't remember whether it was maybe the bottom of the bun or maybe the inside of the top bun, or I don't know, but anyway, it had a horrible taste. Okay, and so I ended up, got back in my car, took that sandwich back, told him I wanted my money back. I didn't want another sandwich. I just wanted my money back, and I just wanted to go. Okay, and it took a long time for me to want another barbecue sandwich after, and this has been almost 30 years ago, and I can still remember that taste. Okay, and so anyway, like I said, it took me a while to want a barbecue sandwich from anybody. I don't know how long it took, but I didn't want a barbecue sandwich at all because of that horrible experience. I have grown up loving brisket. Okay, loving brisket sandwiches, but after that, I did not want another one. Okay, for a while. I do now, but for a while, I did not want it. Okay, that experience put a horrible taste in my mouth. Okay, when it came to brisket sandwiches, it like I said, it just put a horrible taste in my mouth. Okay, and so thinking about people, there are times when, and I'll just speak for myself, experiences with people cause me to feel the same way. Okay, there have been times when there has been an experience with a person, or people, or whatever the case may be, and that experience caused me to not dislike, just like with the barbecue sandwich. I did not all of a sudden just I didn't all of a sudden just dislike brisket. Okay, I still loved brisket, but because of that experience, I didn't want it right then. Okay, and so like I said, same thing with people. Sometimes people can put a horrible taste in your mouth, and it's not like, you may not dislike them, however, because of an experience, you may not want, you may want some distance because of, and you may need to wait a while, and until you feel like you're ready to devour that again. Okay. And so how can you tell that a person doesn't dislike you, but maybe you have done something, or something has been done that has caused you or an experience to put a bad taste in their mouth? Okay. One reason, or one way that you can tell, is a person is not just going after you. You understand what I'm saying? A person is not being confrontational with you. Okay. If they just try to avoid, just like with the with the sandwich, I didn't just anyway, like I said, I just wanted to avoid, a person may just want to avoid you until things simmer down. Okay, so that's one way that you can tell that a person does not dislike you, but you just put a bad taste in their mouth. Okay, they just need space for a while. Okay, until they, like I said, maybe get that taste out of their mouth. Okay. Another way that you can tell that a person doesn't just flat out dislike you is if they aren't 100% absent, I guess we can say. Okay. There's a difference between giving space and being 1000% avoidant. Okay. And so pay attention to that. Okay. Is a person completely avoiding you? And if they are avoiding you, are they trying to avoid some sort of a conflict? Okay. So pay attention to reasons why you're being avoided. If that's the case, if a person is avoiding you, are they avoiding conflict? Is it the conflict that they're avoiding? Okay. Now let me say this about conflict. I am, and I've said this in videos before, I like to have the difficult conversations. I think it's helpful to have difficult conversations, because if you don't have difficult conversations that are important, okay, now you don't need to have difficult conversations with everybody, because not everybody's worth it. Okay. However, if it is a subject matter or a person that is, or who is important, it is important to have these difficult conversations. Okay. And so I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, like I said, it's important to have, to not avoid a difficult conversation if you are communicating with a person who's willing to be who's willing to both to respectfully and honestly communicate. Okay. However, if there is a lack of respect, if there is a lack of honesty, if things are heated, you may need to put space there. Okay. Until things simmer down. All right. Let's see. And I'll just do one more because I'm running. My battery is getting ready to die on my laptop. So, another way that you can tell that a person does not just completely dislike you, but they are, but you just put a bad taste in their mouth, and so they're given space, is if there is still respect. Respect is everything. When a person disrespects you, or when a person is being disrespectful, and I'm also going to say this: there's a difference between being, never mind. If a person is being respectful, okay, they don't dislike you. Now, what and a person really shouldn't be disrespectful no matter what. Okay, so whether a person likes you or not, you shouldn't. Respect is common courtesy. However, I think that is a sign that a person, or that maybe you have just put a bad taste in someone's mouth. Okay, but they don't dislike you. Is they're willing to still be respectful. Okay, there's still a level of respect there. I'm also going to say this: there are people who, I think that when it comes to respect, we should all respect ourselves first. Respect yourself and also respect other people. However, behavior, for me, behavior can determine how much respect you receive. Okay. So for example, I was talking about communication. Okay. I can respect a person who communicates honestly and directly. However, I lose respect for people who choose not to. Okay. If I see that a person is just choosing not to be honest, I lose, and if they're being, I've talked about people being underhanded and quite a few of my videos and manipulative. People such as that I tend to lack respect for. However, I still don't blatantly disrespect them. You understand? So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, it's very short. My battery will soon, or that my laptop is gonna soon power down, and so I just wanted to make a quick video about that. Okay, and so I hope it was helpful. I hope you have a wonderful day. Feel free to write any comments and likes, and again, thank you for watching. Bye.